want to quickly introduce
Sure.
both of us? Yes. Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Ma'am, Sunita ma'am,
You're mute.
All right. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, audible now. Yes.
Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so nice to be with IITians, especially younger people, and so enthusiastic, so keen to do something with their lives. I'm very happy to be here. Do I start or do you ask questions, or how is how do you go?
Right, so ma'am, maybe we can begin with a short introduction for you as well as for Richa ma'am, and post that Richa ma'am will be moderating the event for you.
Yes, you'll be right. Yes. Okay, Muskan. So if you can quickly do that, then we can start off. Yes.
So good evening, everyone. I am Muskan, a student of IIT Bombay, and I'll be your host for the session. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Ms. Sunita Ramnathkar and Dr. Richa Singh for today's session. Ms. Sunita Ramnathkar is the founder of Fem, India's first facial bleach brand, and is currently at the forefront of Eudora Enterprise LLP in India and driving its business as the director. Ms. Sunita initiated her entrepreneurial journey with Fem Care, India's first bleach brand that was launched in 1981, which was such a miraculous product that it was profitable from the year one itself. Within 2 decades, Fem Care was one of the most formidable names in the personal care segment. Later, it got acquired by Dabur Limited. Having sold Fem, Ms. Sunita had floated her own company in US, Eudora Group Inc. In 2009, Ms. Sunita was approached by US skincare brand that specialized in developing cosmetics for women of color, Michelle USA. Convinced by their ideology and products, Ms. Sunita picked up a stake in the brand. Further, she went on to launch a range of skincare products that were basically a range of anti-aging products with the help of the Sacred Lotus. Being a founder of a pioneering brand in the beauty segment and venturing into innovative products range, currently with Eudora, you are a source of inspiration for young learners, and I'm sure the audience is enthusiastic to know more about your entrepreneurial journey. So I would like to welcome you, ma'am, for today's session.
Thank you so much. Would you like to introduce Richa as well?
Sure. So as the moderator for the session, we have with us Dr. Richa Singh. Dr. Richa is a professional with 13+ years of experience across CSR, healthcare, social entrepreneurship, and consulting domains. Currently, she works as a senior manager partner, patient advocacy in the market access team at Roche Pharma India HO. She has been advising and mentoring high growth social impact ventures and is a board member of Healing the Foundation. So I would like to welcome you, ma'am, and pass on the command for this session to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Muskan. And I have to welcome again Sunita ma'am for the session. Really lovely to have you among us, and thank you so much for your Sunday time on a Sunday. So very quickly, how I've seen that the sessions operate is we talk about your entrepreneurial journey a bit in the Q&A format, and people submit questions on the chat, and then at the end we can take some questions from the chat. But just is that works for you well, or yeah?
It works for me. I'm game for anything. It's my passion. Younger people.
Oh, absolutely. Great. Lovely to have you, and we're looking forward to a really engaging session with you. So ma'am, just we'll dive right in. Just wanted to know that in 1980s, yeah, you started, you've been an entrepreneur twice over, one with the Fem Care and now with Eudora recently. So how different were the two experiences? Because entrepreneurship back in the 1980s, especially for women, was not unheard of, very uncommon choice as to speak. So there must be a lot of challenges and hurdles at that point. And then if you juxtapose that with your most recent your venture at Eudora, how easy was it this time, or different was it this time? If you can maybe take us through your journeys both the time.
Oh, I could write a book on it, because
absolutely understood. Yeah.
Right back in 1981, there was no cosmetic in the market except Lakme and I think Pond's. And Pond's made creams, cold creams, and Lakme made color cosmetics and maybe shampoos. So there was no one in the skin care as such. The bleach, there was no. They used to use crude bleaches in the parlors, and people used to go there and get themselves burnt and bleach somehow. Yeah. And I saw a big gap in it, because abroad there were very sophisticated bleaches used. And so I started my journey from there. and capture the market quite easily, because that was a time when there was so little going on in the space. In the TV, there were only 4-5 programs which were watched, that Ye Hai Meri Zindagi and Hindi film and Chaya Geet or whatever.
So, yeah, Chitrahar.
Second ad, I would get all the eyeballs, there. And it was a captive audience. I could talk to them. I could just advertise in Femina, Stardust, and this, and I was there. I had landed. And it was easy. I was at the right place, right time, with the right product, and that really made it. Come 2019, where I came with this, I found an absolute different India, because I was having a non-compete for 5 years. I was not doing anything. I was just chilling out. I went to America, got into this company, started growing that company there. And when I came back, India had completely changed. Here was an India with a lot of disposable income, huge number of every cosmetic you name was on the shelf. People were discriminating. They were just buying. They were looking at the ingredients. They were Googling, and buying the right things for the right skin and everything. So everything was so different. And people, in my time, people were not ready to spend 70 rupees for a bleach. It was like, if you raise it by 5 rupees in the market, our sales would drop. It literally dropped. People were price conscious. Today, people are throwing money at cosmetics. They don't mind anything for a better skin, for a better value. So today, I see a totally different and very vibrant India. This India is really different. And I'm so happy, because we are coming near the first world countries, Right. So this is a challenge. In today's world, this is a challenge. In our time, there was not much social media. There was no selling online and things like that. Today, everything is possible. The communication is better. The focus is better. Everything is so much better today. So I find it very challenging and very nice. I feel I'm living in a better India.
Oh, wow. So obviously, like you rightly mentioned, the consumers have become more savvy and they're ready to spend more. There's so many channels of distribution which have opened up, and even reaching out to the consumers directly. But also, like that time you had the first movers advantage, right? Like you said, there was no one. But now it has become.
Yeah, that's the challenge. I would love to have this challenge, because I would like the people to take a knowledgeable decision and see my Sacred Lotus extracts being, see, the whole line is based on Sacred Lotus extracts. And these extracts are proven to reverse aging or augment anti-aging. So with Mitchell, I just have a brand which is only focusing on anti-aging. Now, this is anti-aging for the under eyes, for the laugh lines, for the neck, for the skin, for the forehead. So this is just a full regime of anti-aging products. So I want to own the place for anti-aging. Till now, there has been nobody who's given the whole space to anti-aging. So this is where I want to be the first mover again. And I'm trying to do that, because see, every product has one-off anti-aging product. Like Ole will say, we've counteracted 7 signs of aging, but what is in the product which is actually countering the 7 signs of aging? So they have the same collagen, peptides, everything, and they call it anti-aging. So I need a proper dosu, real good product which actually anti-ages. So this is the product I found, which is, I was so used to a miraculous kind of a result, but this is not miraculous. One has to use it for a couple of months to get the results. So this was a big shift. But this is very challenging and very upbeat. I'm very upbeat about what I'm presenting the range today, because actually it is the first time that anti-aging products have come into the market.
Great.
That is awesome. Anti-aging wash, the anti-aging toner, everything anti-aging,
Right. Awesome. I can see the excitement on your face, and you're thrilled to go, and all the best of that.
You need to have passion. You need to really believe in what you're doing. You have to see that this is the best, and that's it. Then that carries you through, I think.
On that thought, I just wanted to ask you, like, how easy or difficult was, even if today it's difficult for it's typically ladies to get into entrepreneurship at that time in 80s, because a lot of, we are so socially conditioned that you're a lady, you get educated, you either get married or you do a job. It's a risky proposition for you. Even the investors sometimes feel that we don't want to back women-led companies. So do you think it has shifted now, or it's the same?
Core of it is the same. Outwardly everything is okay. Now the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law are friends. In my time, we were not friends. And it was like they were doing me a big favor by allowing me to work, and they didn't really care about what I earned or things like that. Or at least they showed they didn't care. But today, things are different. Today, we have very supportive partner and in-laws and things like that. So maybe today is much easier. I wouldn't know, but the core remains the same. If you have a child, you're supposed to be responsible for the growth of the child. If you have a house, you're supposed to be responsible for the growth of the house. Now, how much you can make your husband share the responsibility is in your hand. I mean, in the husband's hand. Nowadays, it's much more than what we used to. We had to do everything ourselves, and we had to put up a smile and do it. Because the moment you didn't do that and you cowed down, they would say, oh, forget it, then don't do that and just do this. It's too much for you and things like that. So I had to put on a smile. I say, okay, it's okay. I can do this as I can do that and I can do this. So I did everything. But today, I think it's much easier. I think there are the atmosphere and the whole entrepreneurship is very conducive to growth, and it's every household's topic of interest. So I think it is good. I think it'll be much easier this time than when I started it last time.
That's very encouraging to hear from you. Also wanted to understand from you, ma'am, that but typically, what made you select the beauty industry, in particular, that this is the place I want to, if was it a discovery of, like you mentioned, like in the US it was a matured market, so let me bring it to India or something else?
No, it's not more beauty than it's confidence. I wanted to instill confidence in a lady. Today, a lady can carry off anything and she's confident about herself, as long as she's confident. As long as she knows she's putting her best foot forward and she's putting her best face forward, it is good. But at my times, women used to feel a little diffident. They would feel they would not be allowed to put in color cosmetics or blow dry their hair was very rare and things like that. So, I used to feel the women abroad are so confident, even if it wasn't really beauty or anything like that, but it was just to know that you look good, just to know that you can put the best foot forward, just to know that you are the best that you can be, is more than enough. I feel Indian ladies are the most beautiful in the world. Believe me, I've seen the world, I've seen America, I've seen everything. But the beauty we see here is so genuine and so nice. You just need to just give them a little boost and a little a proper kind of a proper kind of get up, not more than get up, just a proper kind of a makeover, and they will step out with confidence. I feel that's where we needed to bring the women up. They were not very. They used to make it up with zari saris and bouquets of flowers and all, but this is something which gave them confidence to know that their hair is not seething them. They are glowing from inside. That gave them confidence.
Right, very true. And I've heard this even from my colleagues abroad, like they say that we be tan to get skin like you guys, and we freckles, etc. there. And we are like, we do the reverse, we pay money to become like you guys. So everyone is basically trying to be like the other.
So this thing, so if you are tanned and if you're brown, they consider that you are even very good because you have gone to somewhere in the beach to have a holiday and come back. So you are wealthy also to get yourself tanned. People sitting at home white and pale. So beauty is different to different people. As long as you're confident, as long as you know, okay, you can, this is your best self. Everybody loves themselves. It's just that they have to put the best foot forward. That's all. I feel Indian women can make it, in the world.
Right. Also, you started with one product, right? With the facial bleach line, and then you, yes, and then you expanded. How did that come about? If you can maybe share that a little bit.
Bleaches, we kind of we were doing demonstrations of bleach among women, and we used to bleach them and show them the difference, etc., etc. So in those demonstrations, I would get feedback from the ladies, what they needed in the. So I used to ask, I don't want to put another cream on another this thing or another shampoo. Tell me what exactly is what you need. So they used to say that we work in the kitchen, our hands are soiled, we need a good soap, we need a gentle soap, we have such lousy soap, we need a good. There was no liquid soap in the market. There were only Momocol at that time, and it was horribly like a Paatso Ek Bar soap kind of a thing,
Oh my God.
So yeah, it was very bad on their hands, and they said, okay, we needed a good soap. So I took out the first cream soap, the gentle cream soap based on coconut oil. That was my second. So that was so good that one drop was enough to wash the hands. And I perfumed it so well so that even if you were eating something or if you're shelling something and your hands was smelling, in one wash, the hands would be fragrant. Wow. Right. So that product. So I used to go to the women and ask them what they needed in order for them to make their life simple. And that's how my product line grew. I first started with bleach, then I started with the cream soap, then I started with hair removing cream. Then, all these things started falling in place. And that's how, that time there was only Anne French, one hair removing cream, and that was not very effective. So then I started with mine. So all this came because my ears were to the ground and with the women. And I was constantly asking them what was needed to make their lives better.
And I'm very intrigued because, in MBAs and in other design thinking course, they take a huge amount of fee to teach this, how to talk to consumers, how to interview them, how to make user profiles or, pain point profiles, as a lot of, MBA students are here. And this is 101, right? This is the first step. And did this came to you very intuitively, right? Like talking to your customers or?
I'm sorry, I didn't do an MBA at all. I was a chemistry student, and that was interacting with women, putting your ears on the ground, seeing the hard facts, what it was. Even now, when I bought out my Mitchell line, I sat in a lifestyle store and I saw what was going on. What was the price point at which people were buying things. Like how are they buying? So where they saw Givenchy and where they saw Christian Dior and where they saw Shiseido and all, what they were actually buying was a Garnier or a Olay or the price range. You have to match the price range to appeal to people. I'm not going to produce something which is just sitting on the shelf and as a big showpiece and saying, oh, this is it's got caviar or it's got orchids or it's got this or it's got that. Doesn't mean anything because the person has to afford it. So I had to then indigenize the formulations over here and then bring it at that price point, which is much better than what we had in 1981. It was 1,500 to 1,800 to the lowest one was 400 to 1,500 was my price point. But this is the price point which was actually used by women, which was actually taken by women, which was actually tried out. So I did a lot of research, and this is really hardcore research. I didn't go on any MBA books or didn't open any big journals or anything. This is, I just had to observe. I just had to go there and observe what was getting picked up and what were the people wanting, basically.
And this is such valuable advice, I think, for all of us. Because knowing your consumer, knowing consumer behavior is something we've been taught like as a class, and a lot of them learned behavior, but you picked it up and you actually did that. And I think that is a huge amount to your success, because you know what your consumer is looking for in terms of price points, in terms of SKUs, in terms of products, right? So I think that probably, if I would say, and and how easy or difficult was to a lot of people would say that one has to do it in a particular amount of manner. You need to interview 2,000 people to get data, but is that the case in practical application? Or even I think getting your first 10-15 customers down or observations down is the way to go there?
No, you don't need 2,000 people, but you need varied people. Not see, you have to be very focused. I can't cater to whole of India. I have to be very focused on what I want, the age group I'm wanting. My age group is now starting from 22 onward, because that's the age people are worried about getting aging. They are on the computer, they are overworking, they are spending nights studying or whatever. So they're literally worried about aging. So I'm getting consumers right from 22 onward, to 45, 60. But what happens in our country is the moment the person reaches 40, 45, 50, they don't care. They don't care that what happens to them. Oh, I'm already settled. I'm already there. Now forget it. Now I'm not. So what we thought initially that anti-aging products would go more with the 50 plus, but it's more with the 22 plus. It's quite a discovery actually. So this is how people stop caring after a certain while in our country somehow, which should not, but it is there.
Right. And that's including because most of the Olay products are targeted at 35 plus, 40 plus women. But actually, if you see, the user base is very different from what the target audience is.
Anyway, so we started only 2 years ago, and then we started and there was a lockdown. So we actually are starting now. So it's like that.
Got it. And ma'am, some people have asked in the chat that how did you actually start your journey in 1980s? If you can maybe shed light on that. Like I think you and your brother started the venture together. So, so maybe So
I looked after marketing. So it was like we had this small factory in Andheri, which my father funded. And we would make a batch of the bleach. We would pack it. Then I would sell it. And with that money, we would make the second batch. So the first batch had to get sold to fund the second batch. And we would initially make once a week the batch. Then we had these various demonstrations. We would sell that and then we would come back. Then my brother would make the second batch. Then he would make it like that. Then slowly it became like twice a week. Then it became thrice a week. Then it became every day. Then it became 2 batches a day. Then it became 2 shifts a day. Then we expanded into Nashik and we had a huge factory. And there we started. But the first few years was very tough. We had to just count our pennies and see how much it takes to make a batch, sell that much and then make a batch like that.
Very interesting. And how are you selling, and how did you know that this is the correct price point to sell?
That our first bleach was only 19 rupees. So it was a big bleach, it was 19 rupees. And then we came out with the smaller version, one-time use of 10 rupees. So that which anybody can use before a party and go. So we had the 10 rupee one really sold well. That beat all the larger sizes, SKUs or everything. So then we started going more with the 10 rupee bleach than this thing. Then that really caught on. Then everybody knew this thing. And we had only one ad, that Gori Gori, Fem Care. So that one ad did the work. We didn't have to do anything much. All eyeballs came and all this thing. So that was really luck. I would feel I was at the right time at the right product at the right place. So that was a bit of a luck. But now it is going to be hard work. I know that.
Oh, the best. Okay, there's a question in the chat that how does one begin if you do not have enough capital to begin with, to start operations or do anything? So
you won't believe, Richa, the first batch was made in my kitchen. I did the cream in the kitchen. Yeah, it was like this. The powder mixer and the cream mixer was in my kitchen. So you have to start, if you have the passion, no, you have to start. The boxes, our friend was making boxes, you know. So he gave us first lot, you know, without payment or something. Then we just bought the outer cartons, the brown cartons.
The cardboard ones, yeah.
We made first. Then, of course, we had to have, according to the FDA, then when we went to the FDA for permission, we had to have a laboratory, we had to have a QC and things like that. Then we got a place in Andheri, that small place in Andheri, a laboratory, a QC and a manufacturing place, all in that small one place. So that's how we started. Before that, it was so difficult. You know, you have to start small. If you think you can start big, no, you really need deep pockets, or then you need a mentor investor like how you can get today. But in those days, there were no such thing. We had to steam up our own money. Whatever my husband could put in, whatever my father could put in for my brother, that is how we started. You know?
Right. So, and I think most ventures initially are bootstrap, right? As you spoke. Yeah. And then you grow.
Also is another challenge. We had to do everything ourselves. To get good people also, to pay them well also is a challenge. So everything we had to do ourselves. We had to go and demonstrate. We had to have one fellow carry the stock, get the money there, and then come back home that way.
Right. So there are many young girls and young people in the audience who probably like to start their entrepreneur journey, maybe immediately after the MBA or maybe down the line. So what advice you would, want to give them if they want to go down this path?
Yeah, Richa, I'll tell you what, there is no choice, because entrepreneurship is the only thing that the girl can do along with the family. She can work late into nights, she can work early mornings, she can manage her house, and she can still be an entrepreneur. While a 9-to-5 job or a 8-to-10 job nowadays, which is going on, is really strapping them to the wall. I mean, they can't do anything much at all. So I think our first 10 years of an entrepreneur are very tough. You have to give in everything that you have. You have to probably not sleep many nights, or you have to. But after that, when you can afford stuff and all, entrepreneurship becomes very viable for a girl. You know, very viable in the sense that she has people to help her. She has a product which is running on her own, on its own, and she has a buyer base who is buying her products, and she is in a sweet spot. Like,
I think that's a very great point, because a lot of people feel the reverse. They feel that entrepreneurship is all consuming, and if you do that,
first 10 years it is, but it is the only thing which can keep you through. For example, if you're going to address an export market, you need to be awake at nights and you need to sleep. You need to manage this thing in the day. So you can do both. You can still do both. You can still manage. But whatever you do, you have to be the best. You have to see that you are the best. Whatever is available, you have to top it. Otherwise, no chance.
That's a very good point, and hence choosing your passion and starting entrepreneurship in that area which you're passionate about really, I think, tides you over. Yeah.
I'm telling women, if you're good in cooking, do pickles, do anything, but do the best. You are good at it. You have an inclination at it. Go for it. Then do the best.
Right. Also, there's a question of what women should do more, like as compared to men, in the entrepreneurship journey to succeed, because there are some unique challenges and barriers there, as we discussed previously.
So, for example, we can't be taken seriously in a bank, or at least in 1981, my brother had to do all of that, the excise inspectors and the inspectors and the banking and everything. But today, I think a woman is very much in the forefront. I mean, we are heading so many banks. I don't think there is any second level, and that time in the inspections, I remember they never used to take me seriously only. But when my brother came in, they would, suddenly change. So today there is no such thing. There are no barriers. I don't think a woman is next to anyone. She is on her own and she has proved herself. and she's where she should be. I'm very proud of all women in all fields. I feel they're doing very well.
Right. Also wanted to touch upon one point that we spoke about earlier, that Indian market becoming more mature, people ready to pay more for, wellness and beauty lifestyle products now. Do you think even digitalization, like do you see a stark difference between pre-COVID and post-COVID buying behavior, especially for cosmetics in India?
Yeah. See, now during the COVID, only online was available, and for cosmetics, it was considered non-essential. So we couldn't deliver even cosmetics. So it was bad. But now I feel a woman has got into the digital space somehow. During COVID, she's been beating her computers and ordering stuff. So maybe she sees beauty products and she orders them too. Instead of going to the nearby shop, why not order that? So her everyday use things, she is going to order online. But if she has to be wooed, if she has to be introduced to a new product, if she has to be shown the better products than what she's been using, then I have to go a little further in social media interaction, and influencer marketing and things like that, and try and woo her. So this is the difference. But once you get her hooked, I think she'll be on it. I think she's more going to be digital than the general trade. Unfortunately, my experience only was with the general trade. So this is good to me, and especially in India. So I'm learning. I'm literally learning.
Right. One question also I wanted to ask you. Recently, we had this, IPO with Nykaa, having one of the beauty giants, or you can say that the e-commerce giants, which has a lot of beautiful brands. And yes. So how do you think e-commerce has really affected the whole buying behavior? You can say the consumer now choice, because earlier it was not the Bobby Browns of the world were not available to us, or even the best top shelf high street items are not available to us. Now there's so much choice, but I think there's a lot of confusion also with the choice. Like, what do I buy? What does it suit my skin? So where do we find the middle ground, right? From that.
That's exactly, So Falguni she didn't have a brand of her own, but she was an aggregator of brands. So she sold everything from Pond's to Himalaya to the Christian Dior's to the Bobby Browns to everything, more color cosmetics and all. So people used to see the color, they used to say, oh, maybe it suits my skin. And many times I bought a wrong color, because on the screen it looks different and what it comes on me is different. Now I insist and I go in the shop and see the color, even foundation, see anything. If it suits me, then only I will buy the first thing. Then the second time I can go to the e-commerce and buy that same shade. Once I like something, once you know that it suits your skin, once you experience it, then the second time you can go digitally and buy it.
Right, absolutely. So there was a couple of more questions. One was, how do we find the right co-founding team? Or, obviously, like sometimes you have great family members like your brother and yourself starting it, but sometimes you have to look out for another founder, right? From a different competency base. Probably you are a tech person, you want to find a business person, and vice versa. So how do we find that mix of people, to start your journey with?
Get together and they decide and they become excited and form a company. Or then you look out for professionals. Professionals come at a cost. So, what happens is initially you have to make them a part of your company or give them equity or whatever, and see that they are as passionate to start on their own. The professionals have already got experience and they are used to a certain scale of salaries, etc. So if they are willing to sacrifice all of that and come in as a partner and take whatever one makes and lead the company, then you are very lucky. And you have to find such people who are like-minded, because what happens is if you think in a different way and then the person thinks in a different way, this happens even with a brother and sister. He was thinking in a way in which the product can be made in a better way, in a cheaper way, and I would think of the market. I would say no, not what we, and unless I get that, I will not market. So
right.
So they are thinking in a different way. You are thinking in a different way. To get like-minded people who think like you is really, really this thing. I think one has to talk to many people before deciding where you want to partner. You know, it's not easy. It's like a marriage. You have to go through it and keep convincing each other that you're right. You know, so it's not.
So someone has asked, how do we become more disciplined, or is discipline one of the more requirements to be an entrepreneur? Can't one do it the lenient way? So how disciplined one has to be, in approaching entrepreneurship once one starts?
Initially, yes, you have to be disciplined. You have to be very disciplined, in fact, initially. But later on, come 10 years, 5, 7 years, you can then sit back and then get the work done or see the work or oversee the work or whatever. So just think that you're giving up so many years of your life. Totally, focus and totally on that. And then you can take it easy, as she says,
Right. Okay, sure. One more thing, I know you sold off, Fem Care to Dabur for a, I would say a good deal at that point, and then started with the Eudora. Probably now, abhi aur bhi mil jata paisa, with this current climate. Right. So how do we make a good exit happen? Because even VCs today, they love a good exit. Ki maine invest kiya and exit ho gaya. This company IPO'd or the company got sold off. So how does one gear, or does one think about exit from the very start, or it is a natural process?
No, think of an exit and start. No, you'll never get an exit, because your whole concentration will be how I'm going to look at from the investor's point of view. Never do that. Look at it only from your consumer, who's your end consumer. Look at it only from there. Let the investors find you interesting and come to you. But never look at it, start a company with the mindset that you want to sell it the next year or the next 2 years or the next 3 years. It's not going to happen, because you'll keep on waiting and you'll keep on doing things which they would like, which is not what the market wants. The market wants them a different approach. So you have to put your head down, put your nose to the ground, and do what has to be done. And if at all you're lucky, this is what happened to us. Investors came to us. In fact, there were 4 investors who wanted us, and all at the same time. And due diligence was carried out in 4 different rooms. And we were quite new to the whole idea. We didn't even know what we were going to do afterwards. But this is what happened. We never thought of this. We never thought. The moment you think, "Arey, abhi bechenge," nobody's coming. Oh my God, why aren't you coming? Pitch deck has to be changed. Oh, this has to be changed. They would want to see more of this. They want to. Nothing like that. You have to make a good company which you would like to own. Then only the investors would like to own it. Something
very valuable advice.
Yeah.
Very valuable. And I've seen, the founders tell me, VC ne invest kar diya, and now they're saying 5 saal mein exit sochna hai. So how do I plan for exit? And I'm like, that's not the why you started the company in the first place, right? To see exit. But then they have so much pressure.
Yes, you have to start a company for yourself. The company that you would like to own. Only if you manage to do that, will the investors want to own it. Then they will say, "Oh my God, this company is good, and I want to be a part of it." Till then, you don't this thing. And if you start it for them, they have very weird ideas. I mean, I don't even know what the pitch deck has to be of so many pages. This has to come through. That has to come through. Exit has to come through. But who knows what is going to happen to? I don't know. So we have to play it by the day, by the hour. You have to be there. When the client or the woman wants it, you have to be there. In Dubai, they have vans going around with products. Today, if Carrefour wants a product, they will ring up. The product has to be there within half an hour. If they don't deliver, and they deliver the next day, a little here and there is okay, but they deliver. They said, "No, we wanted it yesterday, not today. If today somebody comes for it, we'll ask for it." Yesterday somebody was asking for it, therefore we called it. It has to be that quick. So what they have are vans going around just supplying within half an hour to all these big supermarkets, which whether it's Lulu, whether it's Carrefour, whether it's any, they have to supply within half an hour. So then they can tell the person, you roam around, come back, half an hour, you get the product. That way. So the need is so catered to. So we have not reached that level, of course, but we have to reach level wherein we satisfy the customer, we delight the customer. The customer has to say, wow, you know, that is not what the investors are looking for.
Again, I think a very basic rule of delighting your customer and knowing your customer very well. And do you think probably we are progressing towards the end? So just a couple of more questions. Do you think that US versus India, how different are the two ecosystems from funding perspective or entrepreneurship perspective? Because US is a very mature ecosystem there. VCs are more, like you said, they have certain expectations of, a pitch deck size or a font size, even for that matter, and how you pitch, what you say, everything. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about US versus India. They have a lot of spending capacity and they're very conscious of themselves. They dress to kill in office also. I feel like a sack of potatoes over there. But they are like every Friday, they go to a beauty shop and they ask what's new. They see the ingredients, they see Google, everything. They buy. See, their salaries come every Friday. I used to feel worried because we used to sit on the counter and sell. And every Friday in USA, I used to feel, what is that lady going to eat for the rest of the week? I mean, the way she's going on spending on cosmetic, they are really they don't care if they save. They just have this plastic card where they spend and spend and spend. So it is a different market altogether. It is a market of indulging. It is a market of huge excesses, which we can't even imagine over here. So I have actually gone and stood behind a counter in USA versus India. And the difference is just too much because first of all, you can't touch their skin or you can't try that out because you have to have an esthetician. They will not let anybody do that except an expert. The esthetician will explain to them what she was using and where she is applying. And if they like the results, they're going to buy it. But the thing is that they are very informed, very discreet on what they want to buy, and they will buy. The last thing is they will buy. They're huge. And in the lockdown, while we were cringing, the US was selling 35% more than what our usual sales were because everybody got money in their banks and they didn't know what to do with it. So they bought cosmetics. Right? Wow. They want to, at the time they want to look good. So it is a different.
So it's very different mindsets, very different markets in both.
It's a very different mindset. And today now, everybody wants to enter cosmetics because they feel that this is the cash cow, everybody's investing in cosmetics. But that's how the foreign funds are thinking. So the whole world is cosmetic. It's not so in India. It's not so, in India. But when the foreign investors come, they think, oh, cosmetics, this is the world, this is the population. This is the woman population. This is the population from this age to this age. So the cosmetic market has to boom over here. So they invest in not knowing that cosmetics is not such a great thing. Today, sugar is sitting, Lakme is sitting, Color Bar is sitting, this one is sitting. So everybody's sitting in the same line. But the investors think that, wow, you're sitting in 4,000 counters, so you're great. But it's not. India is totally different. Somebody has to understand the psyche of India. India is not going to use 2 lipsticks a day. India is not going to use so many shades, We are going to like one shade, we are going to use it, one for party, one for, one for office. That's it. India is not the same. So understand, India is not, it's not such a great market.
Great, consumeristic market, yes, very true.
She will first buy her dal, chawal, everything.
True,
but
true.
This time there's no cream. Okay, fine. I'll put malai on my face. Next one dal baki. So that is the type India is. Today it is not there. It's completely different.
So I think that underlines the importance of knowing the different market, the different consumers, and purchasing power and everything, right? So
on the ground, you're not going to know it. You're going to think the demography, this is the geography, this is the number of counters, this is the general trade, these many retailers, these many shops, these many consumers. But it's not that. The game is totally different.
Yes. So, and I'm just getting a message that probably we are almost at the end of our time. So, is there any, last parting words, ma'am, would you like to share with the, all the MBA students here who, who probably would like to consider entrepreneurship, or maybe some will say, let's not do entrepreneurship at all. Let's work with a cosmetic giant. So, messages for both of them before we, sign off. And I really had a lovely time chatting with you, very lively, and would love to, have this opportunity again sometime.
Thank you. The thing is, I would like to tell people that do only what you're passionate about. If you're passionate about finance, making money, do that. If you're passionate about making papads, do that. If you're passionate about beauty, do that. So do only what you're passionate about and you will sail through. There is no other formula to success. And be prepared to put in all you've got into that passion. And number 3, don't settle for the second best. What is the best in the international, not here, what is the best in the international market? Top that. Be better than that. See where you go. And don't think this is your market. The world is your market. It is not only India. Go to the world. That's all I would like to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. It was really engaging for me. And thank you, IIT, for this opportunity. Over to Muskan now.
Thank you, IIT, also.
First of all, thank you, Sunita ma'am, for this wonderful discussion. I think, like me, every one of us could draw some learnings and some great inspiration from you. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And it was a pleasure talking to you all. And I hope somebody benefits from what I said.
Sure, ma'am. Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you.
And
thank you.
Thank you, Richa ma'am, for making this session even more interesting with the wonderful set of questions that you had. And also, it was a delight to learn more about your experiences in the initial part. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Van Dijk. Thank you.